so here's a question with respect to the oversight hearing today or not. When will we find the 17 audio tapes that allegedly linked Joe Biden to a foreign bribery case? We've heard a lot about them. So here to tell us about the Oversight Committee meeting and many other things, we welcome back. It's a great treat, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie, thank you for coming on. I know it's a busy day today. You know what? I know you had this new whistleblower was put out there for the first time and so forth, but I'm still hung on these tapes. I mean, to me, Joe Biden's the big fish. Hunter Biden's the little fish. I'm angling for the big fish. I know there are strong allegations. You and I have talked about this before. Is there any new developments on these audio tapes and this Burisma oligarch who allegedly has them?
I haven't heard any new updates on the location of the 17 audio recordings that are legitimate proof that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden both took $5 million bribes from the oligarch that owns Burisma. But today, in my testimony in the Oversight Committee, I showed proof of real crimes committed by Hunter Biden that the Department of Justice won't even prosecute. And Larry, you know what a severe, dangerous situation we're in right now in our country. How can we go after 17 audio recordings that prove the President of the United States took a bribe when he was vice president, when the Department of Justice will not even prosecute his son, Hunter Biden, for paying prostitutes through his law firm and then writing it off as business expenses when he filed his taxes? So things are dire in our country. We have a weaponized government. It's all political, and I think things are very serious.
Marjorie, did the new Mr. X whistleblower, did he corroborate the sex trafficking?
Yes, he did. Mr. Ziegler, he was a great witness. And you know, for everyone watching at home, Mr. Ziegler is a Democrat. Mr. Ziegler is a gay man married to another man. He says that he has received a lot of backlash from members of his own party and has been attacked, his husband as well, which is so wrong. Mr. Ziegler is just committed to telling the truth, but he did corroborate the evidence that I brought today, as he had already said in his testimony to the Ways and Means Committee. So we have that fully in his transcript and in his deposition. But it's really interesting, Larry. This investigation, they started back in November of 2018. And they started it when they were actually doing a side investigation into a foreign amateur porn company. And that's where they found Hunter Biden. They also read the same SARS reports that we read in the Treasury that showed proof of human trafficking through these bank reports, that big banks like JP Morgan, Chase, and many others created these reports saying that Hunter Biden was making payments to known prostitutes and what looked like alleged human trafficking, not only through his personal accounts, but through his law firm, Owasco, which is extremely illegal. But I brought in proof today in the Oversight Committee of an airline ticket that he had bought and paid for and hired one of these prostitutes to travel from California to Washington, D.C., which is human trafficking, and that's a violation of a Mann Act. And the Department of Justice has done nothing. And the IRS whistleblowers that I talked to today on Oversight, they knew about all of this evidence, and they had told the Department of Justice.
And he wrote that stuff off as expenses, did he not?
He sure did. And Larry, if we had a law firm together and you wrote off those type of expenses, or I wrote off those type of expenses, we would both be in jail, and so would any other American, but not Hunter Biden. He receives complete protection from the weaponized government that is politically targeted at President Trump, but does everything they can do to protect Joe Biden and his family.
Yeah, well, they're trying to throw the book at former President Trump, but I don't think they're going to succeed, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I got to go, but I don't think they're going to succeed. Oh, wait, we got some more time with you. The producers are letting up on me. I love having you on anyway. So let's talk about this trumped-up charges. You know, I think if Biden wants to put Trump in jail forever, I mean, I say this with some humor, but also it's kind of pathetic. I mean, they'll put him in for 200 years, for 500 years, for 700 years, so he doesn't have to run against him. This is going to come to nothing. I mean, we've had all these lawyers on the last 2 nights. Nobody can figure out what the charges are. This prosecutor, Jack Smith, has a terrible record. He lost 8-0 with the Supreme Court. He's had problems with other cases, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is there a way to put some heat on this guy?
Well, I would like to do that. My plan, and I've had it all along, is to defund Jack Smith's special counsel. We can do that through the Holman rule and work that through the appropriations process. I think it's extremely important for us to do. I believe in firing people, Larry, and I think Jack Smith needs to be fired for bringing, we don't even know the charges he's bringing against President Trump, but it's election meddling for sure. Because the Democrats know one thing: if they can cover up the Biden crimes, if they can cover up Democrat corruption and crimes, but they can smear President Trump and keep his name in the headlines with allegations of crimes, that's how they can affect elections. And that is extremely concerning, and that looks to be what they're doing for 2024.
They're not going to fool the voters, Marjorie Taylor Greene. The voters see right through this stuff. That's my take. See right through it.
I agree.
I got to jump. You are great to come on again, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you very much. House member from the great state of Georgia. All right.